Everyone is saying Claude Code is the future of agentic AI. And honestly, I get it. It self-heals when it breaks. It builds workflows automatically without you lifting a finger. You just give it a task and it runs. No setup, no fuss, just results. But here's the problem nobody is talking about. When Claude Code builds your workflow, you cannot see it. You have no idea what it is doing, how it is doing it, or why it breaks when it does. It just goes ahead, runs every task, completes the workflow, and executes it. No checkpoints, no approval, no visibility. You are completely removed from the process. That is not a workflow, that is a black box. And when something goes wrong, and it will go wrong, you have zero control, zero understanding, and zero ability to explain to a client exactly what happened or how it works. And on top of all of that, you are paying for the privilege. To run anything seriously complicated on Claude Code, you are looking at the $200 a month plan every single month just to build workflows you cannot even see. Now let me show you something completely different, something that does everything Claude Code does and more for absolutely nothing.
But before I show you all of that, let me quickly introduce myself for anyone who is new here. My name is Eric. I am a digital portfolio manager, an AI trainer, and the founder of AI Vision Consulting based in Newcastle, England. I have spent years working at the intersection of digital transformation, AI strategy, and people, helping organizations and individuals move from being overwhelmed by technology to being completely in control of it. This channel is dedicated to one mission: making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No hype, no jargon, just real tools, real workflows, and real results. If that sounds like what you need, hit subscribe right now because we post new content every single week. Now, let us get into it.
What if you could have everything Claude Code gives you? The self-healing, the automatic workflow building, the full agentic power. But this time, you are not locked out of the process. What if you could watch every single step being built in real time, see every node, every connection, every decision point, and at any moment step in, approve, verify, or redirect exactly what is happening? That is what it means to be the human in the loop. When you combine N8N with Antigravity, Antigravity builds your workflows for you automatically, just like Claude Code. It self-heals broken workflows, just like Claude Code. It handles agentic tasks at the same level. But N8N shows you the entire workflow visually right in front of you. You can add approval nodes, Telegram checkpoints, verification steps, so the workflow pauses and asks you before it moves forward. You stay in control at every stage. And here is why that matters even more if you are trying to learn agentic AI. With Claude Code, you can never explain how your workflow actually works because you never saw it being built. But with N8N and Antigravity, you watched every step. You understand every connection. You can walk any client, any colleague, any team member through the entire process, node by node, and show them exactly how it flows from start to finish. And in this video, I'm also going to show you how to set up N8N on Docker with a Cloudflare Tunnel, completely free of charge. No hosting fees, no subscriptions, no $200 a month. Just a powerful, fully running agentic workflow system that you own and control entirely. Visibility, control, understanding, and completely free. That is what Claude Code cannot give you. And that is exactly what I am going to show you today.
So before I take you guys through the step-by-step process on how to use Antigravity to install both your Docker, your N8N, and also connect it to Cloudflare, I'll first of all need to show you my N8N instance. So this is what I currently have at the moment. These are the different workflows that I have currently running on Docker Tunnel as well. So what I want to do now, because I need to show you guys how it works, I'll probably have to start this from beginning so you can see exactly the step-by-step process. So now I want to use a different domain name for this. This is a domain name that I connected it to at the moment. It's my Eric the Analyst domain. So what I'll do, I'll use a different domain name for it so I can show you guys the step-by-step process on how it works from start to finish. If you don't have Antigravity installed already on your system, you would need to download Antigravity. Just go to google.com and search for Google Antigravity, then you can download that. So once that is downloaded, you'll be able to install that on your system. So once you have it installed, so this is basically what you'll see once you launch it for the first time. It would ask you to create an account with your Gmail. So you just have to sign in with your Gmail. and you can have it for free. If you don't have Gemini subscription, you can start using it for free. So if you've not seen Antigravity before, I'll just quickly explain this interface. So basically, this is what you see. So all you need to concern yourself about is just this interface. So this is where you add a folder. If you're trying to like vibe code or create anything, you'll need to create a folder for it. So basically, Antigravity is an IDE that you use to vibe code any application or any website. So it's just like VS Code, or it's just like Claude Code as well. But you first of all need to create a folder for it, and you'll be able to chat with it and ask it to build whatever you want to build. So this is where you ask it or tell it whatever you want it to do for you. You just type in the plain English or the plain word, and it goes ahead to vibe code whatever you want it to vibe code. Here you have different models, different LLM models. So you can either use Gemini 3.1 Pro, or you can use Claude Opus, and you can use them for free as well. So these are basically the two that I use, Claude Opus 4.6 and Gemini 3.1 Pro, because they are basically the best at the moment. And you can also set it as plan or fast mode, or you can even set it to bypass permission, so it just runs automatically. But it's always best, once you're starting any project, have it on planning mode, so it shows you step-by-step process of what it needs to do. So the first thing you need to do is to download Docker. So once you have Antigravity installed, you need to download and install Docker, just the way you installed Antigravity. And if you don't know how to do that, you can just tell Antigravity as well to help you download and install Docker, and it can do that for you. So once you've downloaded that, I have created a detailed prompt that you can use to go through this process. So the first thing we need to do, like I said, install anything on Docker. So I've created a detailed prompt for you to be able to use in both installing Docker, installing anything, and connecting it to Cloudflare. I'll leave this prompt in the description box below, so you can just take that and use it as well. So this gives you the whole step-by-step process on what you need to do from start to finish. So the first thing we need to do will be, first of all, to copy this first set of prompt. So this basically tells Antigravity to install Docker and also install anything as well. So what you need to do is just to paste this prompt here. So once that is pasted, it tells Antigravity, I need you to help me install and run anything using Docker on my local machine. Please do the following step by step. Check if Docker is installed on my system. If Docker is not installed, install Docker Desktop for my operating system automatically and confirm it is running correctly before proceeding. Once Docker is confirmed as running, pull the official anything Docker image from Docker Hub using the latest stable version. Create and run an anything Docker container with. So this is just basically the full process from start to finish on how to install anything on Docker, and first of all run Docker and also run anything on that. So once that is done, that instructed it to give us the URL we need to log into anything. So once it has installed anything, it needs to give us the local domain we can launch anything on, and this is the local domain. So this is what we'll get from Antigravity once that has been installed. So I'll not go through this process because I already have Docker installed and I have anything running on Docker. So the process I'll just start from would be, let me go back to the sheet, and this would be to connect to Cloudflare. Because at the moment, I already have a running and public domain that I use for anything, but I want to switch to a different domain. So I need to connect this and go through this process all over again from start. If you have a domain, an existing domain you need it to connect to, then you can't give it the domain here. So now if you don't have a custom domain and you want it to use a generated domain for you from Cloudflare, so what you need to do is just basically scroll down to this version B. So this version B is if you don't have a domain. So you can tell it, give it this prompt. My anything instance is currently running on Docker at this local host. I want to expose it to internet using a Cloudflare tunnel. So it has a public URL instead of a local one. I do not have a custom domain. Please configure a free Cloudflare quick tunnel and generate a random public URL for me automatically. So you can even do this without you having your own custom domain, which you can use. But for me, I have a custom domain, so I'll just go with the first version, which is the version A, to install this on Antigravity. So I'll just copy this whole prompt. I'll just copy this whole prompt to before the version B, and I'll go back to Antigravity, and I'll just paste this instead. Paste this here. And once I paste this, it goes ahead to give me exactly what I want. But because of I already have a version of Antigravity currently running, which I've already started this process with, I'll just show you this. Let me just quickly close this. So this is the version of Antigravity that I already have currently running. If you can see at this point, I say, okay, next step, setting up anything on your new domain. A new anything instance with Docker plus Cloudflare, add DNS. So this is the process I've already discussed with it before now, because my other domain is about to expire and I don't want to renew the domain. So I want to use a different domain for a different website that I have. So I need to give it a different domain for it to start the process all over again. What I discussed with it was that I'll download all my workflows, and once it has completed the process of setting up anything on Cloudflare, I'll import the workflow back. And I also told it to help me save the workflows. So just in case I'm unable to download them, it can just save and export and import everything once it's done. And this is where it told me back up anything workflows. Successfully backed up all 20 anything workflows in Scratch directory. So it has already backed up my workflows. So now the next process would be for it to go ahead and install anything or connect anything to Cloudflare using my new domain. So that is what I'll tell it to do right away. So I'll just paste that prompt here now. So I just pasted the prompt now. Now I'll go ahead to add my domain to it. So let me just pull out my custom domain. Now this is the domain that I want to use for it. I'll just copy and go back to Antigravity. So I just paste that in here. I just highlight and paste. So now it has the new domain that I want to connect Cloudflare to, and also connect to my anything. So I've given it the prompt it needs. So basically from here it understands what it wants to do, and I'll just go ahead and click on send for it to proceed. So you just give it some time for it to run and just do the whole configuration, and once that is complete, you'll be able to see that your anything runs on your custom domain. Or if you're using if you don't have a custom domain, it runs on the domain that will be generated for you automatically by Antigravity. So this is exactly what it does. So you can see and check and install Cloudflare, start Cloudflare Tunnel, set up anything instance, checking if Cloudflare is already installed on the system. So this basically goes ahead to do everything for you. You don't need to stress, or you don't need to worry about knowing how to configure Cloudflare or knowing how to do it. It just automatically goes ahead and do all the installation for you, and your anything instance will be live. So it says Cloudflare is already installed version, because I already had Cloudflare connected to my other domain. So now it's connecting to the internet automatically to try and install Cloudflare. If you can see, I'm not doing anything. It's just basically going through the whole process and doing it by itself. And luckily for it, my login is already attached to it. So it will just go ahead and log in and do the whole setup. So I'll just quickly show you guys what I ended up doing. Because when I asked it to okay, the last thing we did was it asked me to change the DNS of this domain, and I realized that if I change the DNS of this domain, because it's still the domain that I use very often, if I change the DNS, it will move it away from the hosting provider of my current hosting provider to Cloudflare as a hosting provider, but I don't want that to happen. So I had to look for a different domain that I don't use very often to use instead. So this is the new domain that I want to use. So I've gone ahead to change the DNS to points to Cloudflare DNS. That way it will be a lot easier for you to continue the process. So I just told it, instead of using that domain, I would like to use this below instead. I've already changed the DNS to the Cloudflare DNS, so please go ahead and use the below domain instead. So this is because I already have the spare domain. But for those that don't have an existing domain, you don't have a domain at all, it's better for you to go with the version B of the prompt, so it can create a random domain for you, and you don't need to go through all this DNS changing process. But to change the DNS, it's very easy. You just have to go to your hosting provider and and take the DNS that will be given to you by Cloudflare and replace your existing DNS with it. And if you don't know how to go through that process, you can just ask and take a screenshot of it, and the AI will guide you through step by step on how to do that. But it's very easy, which is what I've done already. So I'll just go ahead and send this so it can continue the process to, let me see what it will come up with this time around. So let me just allow it go. And since I've already done that DNS change, it probably might be a lot easier for you to just complete the process from here on. It says I'm good, it will use yes. So I wanted to use this domain instead of the previous one that I gave it. And let's see what it does. So it says, like the login time number, it seems it may happen the authorization in browser, blah, 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 blah. Command. So I just give it some time and see what it comes up with, and see if that will take some time, but I doubt it. So let's just allow this to run. And the good thing about Antigravity is that once you tell it what to do, it has access to your system, to your computer, it has access to the internet, so it can basically do everything you want it to do for you on the internet. Now it's going back to the internet to probably to configure, to confirm that. Let's see. So let me see what it says. Log into your Cloudflare account, select this, click authorized. Okay, let me see. So I have to log into a different Cloudflare account. Let me just log out of this. So this Cloudflare account is where I had the previous connection with. I just have to log on to a new one that I have this current connection with, so that way it will be a lot easier for us to connect and complete the process. So let's see. So I've logged into the new domain, the other Cloudflare account that I have. So because it's wanted me to search for this domain and just approve it, or authorize it, I can't find it. It's not existing at the moment. So I'll just take a screenshot of this and just go back to it and see that I can't find that domain. So I'll just go back to it and I'll paste that screenshot. So I tried to authorize the domain, but I can't find this new domain that I want to use. I can only see the old one. Can you please go through and see if you can reconfigure the whole process again? So I just send that to it, and let's see. So that's the good thing about working with AI. Once you have any roadblock or you're stuck somehow, you can just always take a screenshot and go back to it and say, this is what I can see, this is what happens, what should I do, how do I proceed, how do I move forward? I need to be able to guide you through that. So I've gone through this whole process, and I can see that my name server, that my domain is now pointing to Cloudflare, which means that the DNS has been, DNS basically means domain name server. So it means that the DNS is now pointing to Cloudflare. So I just come back to Antigravity and just tell it that I have updated that process, and the DNS is now connected to Cloudflare. So I've taken a screenshot of it and I gave it to them. I just said done and click on it. So now that it knows that it's connected, it probably will go ahead and just complete the process. So I want to say it again. If you don't have a domain name already, then this process will be a lot seamless and a lot straightforward for you. But if you have a domain name, then it's difficult. It will be a bit techy for you to go through and change the DNS and connect it to Cloudflare. So if you can see, it shows the new domain now. So it says active. So I'll just go ahead and select that and authorize the process. So once the process has been authorized, then Antigravity will be able to complete the process from its own end. So now you may now close this window and start your Cloudflare Tunnel. So that's done. I'll just go back to it and say it has been authorized. It has been authorized. So this process might seem a bit daunting for some people, or a bit technical for some people, but The reason why I call this process a free process is for those that don't have a domain name already. Because domain name, yes, you have to pay for it. You have to buy a domain name. But if you don't have a domain name already, it's a free process. So you'll be able to go through with Antigravity and it will install the whole thing and give you a random domain which you can use for your anything. So I just allow this conversation, and you can see creating tunnel to configure file. So basically it's just doing the whole thing behind the scene for me at the moment. I don't need to stress about anything. So the hard part has been completed. So it's now left for it to just complete the whole process and give me the anything and URL for me to log in. So it has completed the installation process and it's giving me the public domain name that I can use. So this is the public URL. But before I proceed in testing it, I'll just quickly show you guys what has happened while it was running this process. So after giving us the update on the progress that it has made so far, basically on what it has done and what it has completed, it has finally completed the whole process, and now it's giving us the public domain, the public URL where we can launch to test our anything. So this is going to be our anything link going forward. So you can see, because this has my domain already on it, it comes with the domain, just added anything in front of it. But let's just click on it and let's see. So now it's coming up with error 1033. So what I just basically do will be to take a screenshot of this error, take a screenshot and just go back to it and tell it that it's coming up with this error. So just give it that for it to go ahead and fix. So basically this is not like a one-shot process. It will encounter some issues, some difficulties, but it will on its own find out what the cause for that error is, or what the reason for that issue or the error is, and it will go ahead and fix that by itself. So let's just give it some time for it to process and find out what the issue is and debug the error or troubleshoot the error by itself and to make it a working URL. So it has been able to complete the troubleshooting, and now it has come back with what the issue is and has been able to fix it. So you say I'll fix this by setting up a background script and blah blah blah. So you want them to just try and refresh the page. Now let me go back to that same page, and this is the page, and let's refresh and see what happens. Okay, so now it's working. Anything is fully running on my domain, on my custom domain, so it's not on the local host anymore. That means the Cloudflare Tunnel has worked successfully. So now it's me to log in. I'll see if my login would work from the previous account, and let's see. Okay, so that's interesting. So basically what it has done so far is it has been able to import every workflow that I had from my previous account and added it to the new one. If you see, the domain is still running on the new domain, and I have all my workflows still intact. That means basically I didn't lose anything. And let me look at the previous. Now this is the previous domain. This is the previous anything domain. We see this is erictheanalyst.co.uk. So this is the same workflow. Let me go back to the workflows. This is the same workflow that I had on the previous domain that was soon expire. And this is the new anything workflow domain that it has created. So we can see everything still works fine. And let me click into one of the workflow and see. And let's just quickly test just to make sure that everything is still working fine. And what I'll just do would be, let's execute this workflow. Okay, so we can see it is still running very fine. So that means the workflow is fine, everything is working. So I just stopped the workflow because everything seems to be working very fine. So what I'll just do now will be to go back to Antigravity, continue the process with it. Now that you have your anything running completely on autopilot or running completely for free for you, next thing that we need to do now will be you need to install the anything skills, so that you'll be able to connect your Antigravity to anything to help set up your workflow and add it automatically to your anything instance. So for that, you need two skills. You need You need two GitHub repos from this guy. So once I'll add the link also on the doc. So what you need to do is just to copy this link, and let's say if we go back to the doc on the section where you need to install the skills. So here you have to paste the skill here. You have to paste the skill here, and also paste the MCP here. So now this is the skill and this is the MCP. So I'll just copy both and I'll paste on the doc. Okay, let me just paste them here already since they are supposed to go here. So this is the N10 skills and this is the N10 MCP. So for you to have both of these skills installed on your Antigravity, just copy everything and just go back to Antigravity and just paste this. So with this, it will be able to set up the MCP. So once you paste everything to Antigravity, it will be able to go ahead and install the N10 MCP and also the N10 skills. So the reason why we're giving it both these skills and both the N10 MCP is, first of all, the MCP is for you to be able to connect to your N10. That way, if it creates a workflow for you, it automatically adds it to your N10 instance. So you just once you complete that, it gives you the link. So you just click on it and it takes you to your N10 instance, and you'll be able to see that the workflow has been created. And for that, you also need to give it your N10 API keys. So I'll just guide you on show you on how to get that. So for the N10 API keys, you just click on settings, click on new API key. So once you click on this, you create a new API key. If you click on this to create a new API key, it asks you to enter the name. You enter the name of the API key and you can leave it at 30 days or just click on no expiration and you copy the API key. So once you copy the API key, you go back to Antigravity and you give it the API key. Just paste the API key and just like this the API key. So with that, it will add the API key to the N10 MCP. With that, it can connect to your N10 instantly. And for the N10 skills, I think it has about 7 skills that it needs to install. So this skill will help it to understand how to create N10 workflows, how to fix any errors on N10, how to run N10, just to understand basically everything about N10. These are the two skills you need to install on Antigravity, and that way it will help you run everything you want to run basically. So the reason why I say from the beginning that this is better than Claude Code is because this can do everything that Claude Code can do and even do more when it comes to agentic AI workflows, or when it comes to creating workflows. So with this, you just tell it to create a workflow for you, and once you create the workflow and add it to your N10, you test it. If it's not working, you come back to it and say there's an issue, tell it what the issue is, it goes back to fix it. Okay, so this is basically the end of this video. I'll still do more video on how I use Antigravity. So Antigravity is a very powerful tool. I'll surely do more video on this. So if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also click on the bell notification so you don't miss any video when I post any interesting video about how to use different tools or how to use different agentic workflows. Or if there's anything about this process that is not very clear to you, just please leave that on the comment section below and I'll try as much as possible to read every single comment. And if you want any other video that you want me to talk about or you want me to discuss about different agentic workflow or even different tools, just let me know in the comment section and I'll do that video and I'll make sure that you'll be the first to receive it when it drops. Thank you so much for your time and I'll see you on the next one.